Well, welcome to a new Team CGC 9.8 video. So I'm like a lot of people out there where I like to think of cool superhero movies that sort of haven't come out yet, but I think would make great movies. So I thought it would be a fun video idea to just talk about some of these sort of made up movies that haven't come out yet, and they're sort of matching CGC 9.8 comic books. Because yeah, I think if any of these movies sort of came out, these comic books would definitely get a little pop in price, I would think, for sure. But yeah, when you think of sort of movies and comics, I think, you know, I've said in the past here on the channel, like a more savvy way to go about collecting, I think, is to try to position yourself before some of these movies and pop culture events happen. So, you know, maybe not the savviest thing to do, would be to, you know, the trailer drops and then, I'm going to go on eBay and buy that comic. Or, you know, everyone's talking about a show and go on eBay and buy that comic. Like, that's probably not the savviest thing to do. You know, so this list just attempts to sort of position yourself before the movie, which is something I do recommend on the channel here. Another good thing about the list, too, like, I think all these books, they sort of, on their own right, are good investment-grade books, investment-grade CGC 9.8 comic books. Because I wouldn't really recommend to go out and buy a comic book because a movie's coming out or anything like that. Like, you know, you just want to buy comic books because, you know, you love the cover, you're nostalgic for it, you like the artist, you were attracted to the art. Like, those are the real reasons to want to buy, not because a movie's coming out, because, you know, then if the movie doesn't come out, you're just going to kind of be left with a comic that you don't really like that much. So, you know, still want to follow kind of the main rules for collecting comics, buying what you love. So for the video here, I got 6, hypothetical sort of made-up movies, and they're matching 6 CGC 9.8 comics. So before we get into it really quick, I invite everyone to join the team and subscribe to Team CGC 9.8 and hit the bell to get all the latest notifications, and add me on Instagram and Twitter too, all the links in the description below for that. Well, let's get right into the first comic book here, and the first hypothetical awesome movie that could be made. I got an Immortal Hulk #1 here, so I think an Immortal Hulk movie would just be awesome, and it's a pretty good sort of natural extension of what they're doing now. Like, I feel like the Ruffalo actor could, you know, easily play the Immortal Hulk. Like, it's a pretty good sort of natural extension of what they're doing. So Immortal Hulk 1, I'll look on the census for this one really quick, because there's kind of another book for Immortal Hulk that you may want to consider too, but for this book, Immortal Hulk #1, the first print Alex Ross cover. There's a 491 CGC 9.8s in the blue label for this book. And the CGC 9.8 ratio is 58%. So of all graded copies, 58% of them are CGC 9.8s. And yeah, price really quick for this one, around $100. Maybe if you're lucky, a little below $100, but I've seen people pay like $129.99 for this book in the CGC 9.8, so that's sort of the price range you're looking at. So Immortal Hulk would be such a great movie. There's also Avengers 684, which is the first when Hulk gets his immortal power. So the first Immortal Hulk in that one, basically. So that's the other book you kind of want to look after. There's over 1,000 of those in the CGC 9.8 on the census. But I think an Immortal Hulk movie would be really cool. You know, I actually have the Avengers 684 in the CGC 9.8 as well, but if I had to choose, I do like this cover better. Yeah, this to me is one of the kind of classic, most sharp kind of modern covers. Yeah, just the Alex Ross Immortal Hulk #1. So yeah, an Immortal Hulk movie, lots of potential, I think, and it would be a pretty good natural extension of what they're doing now, I think. And yeah, Immortal Hulk #1 is a great, I think, modern book that you can grab for around $100. I did have it on my $100 video too, yep. Just a great book to grab for that price. And out of moderns, it really sticks out for around that price as one to get, for sure. So next book here, possible great movie, and a great book too. It's Ultimate Fallout #4 in the CGC 9.8. This is the first print version of it. And it's the first new Spiderman, Miles Morales. First appearance in this book, Ultimate Fallout 4. So, you know, obviously Miles Morales, he's been kind of in the Into the Spider-Verse movies, but I want to sort of talk about in this video that I think a Miles Morales live-action movie is eventually going to happen at some point. Like, I don't know when it's going to happen, like 10, 20 years, but you know, all the Spider-Man movies up to now have been Peter Parker, but eventually they're going to do a Miles Morales Spider-Man movie in, you know, live action, not an Into the Spider-Verse animation type movie. So up until then, you know, I think you kind of want to just buy the lulls in this book. This is one of my favorite, you know, modern investment grade books. Yeah, look on the census here. There's 1,580 CGC 9.8s in the blue label. And the CGC 9.8 ratio is 32%. So that's, and I've sort of compared this book to other CGC 9.8s, sort of its main comparable. And that CGC 9.8 ratio is looking pretty good. Yeah, of all graded copies, 32% are CGC 9.8s. So that's pretty rare compared to its immediate comparables. So price-wise for Ultimate Fallout 4, you know, the prices have really ran up here in the last couple months to where I'm seeing auctions where they were like $450, $480. Saw some like buy it now sell for like $469.99. Whereas, you know, 6 months ago when I was really recommending this book, it was pulling back to around $350, and I said, wow, you know, right around that price is such a great buy. But I think now, you know, if you can get it closer to $400, that's going to be a pretty great buy for Ultimate Fallout 4. And yeah, I think it's just a matter of time before a live-action Miles Morales comes out, and if the actor does a great job, I think, you know, this is one of the more expensive modern books now, but I think it'll continue to be and get more and more expensive, even more so. Yeah, if a live-action Miles Morales Spider-Man movie came out, and the actor did a really good job. So, yeah, definitely a cool movie that I would want to see. And sort of, yeah, separate from the Into the Spider-Verse movies, yeah, because I think, obviously, there's, you know, Spider-Man Far From Home, Spider-Man Homecoming, all those movies are all Peter Parker, so just a matter of time before there's a Miles Morales one like that. Next book is one I do not have. It's an NYX number 3. So yeah, this is the first appearance of X-23. I think this could just be a really great movie, and just catch a lot of people off guard. I think sort of the general public doesn't really know who X-23 is, but they know who Wolverine is. So the girl Wolverine, like I could just see the general public just completely latching on and loving that. So if they were to ever make kind of a big movie. So on the census for NYX number 3, pretty great investment grade book on its own for sure. 1,719 CGC 9.8s in the blue label, and 40% is the CGC 9.8 ratio. So a little bit higher, not as rare as Ultimate Fallout 4 in the CGC 9.8. And I've kind of did that comparison on past videos. I kind of like Ultimate Fallout 4 a little more than NYX number 3, considering price too. Because yeah, NYX number 3, I saw 2 days ago one sell in an auction. It was in an old case too. Looking really good though. The copy was really good in a nice crisp old case. Went for $757 in an auction. So yeah, first X-23, NYX number 3. And that's, you know, I'd seen sort of in the last couple months here, this book, a couple I think went for $650. And I'd thought, wow, I haven't seen NYX number 3 sell for $650 in a really long time. Always sort of usually over 800, and years ago around 1,000. So this, yeah, it's a book that's been steadily on the decline a little bit because it just heated up so much after Hulk 181 blew up and everything Wolverine kind of blew up. So, but as far as a movie with X-23, I think it could really catch everyone off guard and be a huge hit. And again, there hasn't been a movie yet with X-23, you know, kind of the main feature. So, yeah, I think it's one to speculate on. And then, as I say, like, this book on its own is a great investment grade book. So even if they don't make an NYX movie in the next 20 years, this is still going to be a great one to have that is pulling back in price too. So yeah, now could be the time to buy for NYX number 3. So next book here is a Batman Beyond number 1. And this is a book that I love. And yeah, I actually brought up my other one here. Got 2 Batman Beyonds. Yeah, number 1, the CGC 9.8. And these are the kind of first print, you know, UPC editions here, first prints, because there's like the Origin issue and the Six Flags issue, and there seems to be quite a lot of other obscure prints. But yeah, this is kind of the one the collectors want. But so a Batman Beyond movie, I think, would just be fantastic. And this is pretty much one of the first videos I ever made on this channel, was talking about how I really like Batman Beyond number 1 and how I really think that a Batman Beyond movie just has so much potential. Like, yeah, just, casting Bruce Wayne as maybe an old Batman who's been, whether it's Michael Keaton or whoever, that would be really cool. And having a really great young actor play Terry McGinnis could just, freshen things up so much. And I like how he's got, Batman Beyond's kind of got the rockets in his shoes. So you could do a lot of sort of MCU Iron Man rocketing scenes where he's rocketing around on his shoes, but it would be Batman. Like, that's how I kind of envision a Batman Beyond movie anyway. But Batman Beyond, the comic book, is a great investment grade modern book. Yeah, one I've recommended in the past. There's 180 CGC 9.8s on the blue label on the census this morning. 38% the CGC 9.8 ratio. So of all graded copies, 38% of them are CGC 9.8s. So this is a book that it's really heated up in price. I mean, now it's pretty much over $500. I've saw a lot of completed listings over $550 even. And the thing with Batman Beyond, it kind of came out during the comic book recession. Like in 1999 it came out. It's got the WB Kids thing, so it wasn't really a big print anyway to begin with. But coming out in the recession didn't help the print either. So, yeah, I've said this in the past for Batman Beyond. For such a popular first appearance, Batman Beyond, if this was normally printed, I feel like there would be 400, 500, 600 in the CGC 9.8 out there, just based on popularity and demand. But since the prints were so low, there's only 180 out there, and that's where you see the price is really, really heating up. For it seems like most collectors kind of hold these pretty close. So there's not a lot of them out there, and then, the price has really soared to over $550. Yes, you see a lot like $569.99 buy it nows, and for this book, definitely heating up. But so much potential for the movie, given that it's very low print. There's not a lot of CGC 9.8s out there. It's got a lot going for it, but this is one that I would recommend even if I didn't think there was ever going to be a movie, and who knows, there really never could be, but even if there isn't, you always got the cartoon, such a big cult following for Batman Beyond, and the price for this one being over $500 now shows how strong the cult is for Batman Beyond comic books. So the next book here is, I think, could be a really cool movie, and maybe sometime down the road, but got my Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 51 here, and I actually got 3 of these in the CGC 9.8. A modern book that I think has a lot of potential, yep. So Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 51 is the first appearance of Jennika. Overall, she first appeared in Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 51. She eventually becomes the female Ninja Turtle in Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 95. But 51 here, her first overall appearance, and this is one I was, aiming to grab, for the last, let's call it 6 months. Thinking that this was a really good first appearance to have, and the first female Ninja Turtle, I mean, that's a pretty iconic addition to an iconic superhero team, pretty much, so to have a new Ninja Turtle, I think, is a really big, iconic first appearance. So a movie that could come out with the 5th female Ninja Turtle. Wow, yeah, I could see that being a really big hit, too, if they did a really good job on that. So, we talked about NYX number 3 earlier on in this list, which is, kind of the female version of Wolverine for, lack of kind of a better description. But, I think, if anyone could have said, hey, in, 2005, you could have bought NYX number 3 for $150 or something like that, and speculated on, the new female version of Wolverine, you'd probably definitely say yes now. So I think this has some parallels to that. Obviously Wolverine's so iconic, so are the Ninja Turtles. So just as iconic, I think, as Wolverine. So, I think the first appearance of the new female Ninja Turtle, and in this book she's kind of introduced in a minor appearance as like a Foot Clan soldier, I think. So she's not a Ninja Turtle in this book, but this is the first overall appearance, and I think will be the book to kind of get. And there's there's a retail incentive version and a couple other versions, variants. But I really like this first print Ken Garing cover, just kind of a classic pinup of the Turtles. We didn't look on the census. 44 CGC 9.8s in the blue label. 81% is the CGC 9.8 ratio, so of all graded copies, 81%. our CGC 9.8s. Yeah, and I mentioned kind of the price. I think a good price for this right now is about $150. Yeah, when I was sort of buying mine, when it was a little bit less underfollowed, I paid $100 for one, and the other one was like $78. So, but now, having some people on the team tell me they're paying like $150, $160, and then I did see one go for $230 on eBay. Yeah, that was about a month ago now. So this one's heating up too, but I think you still want to get in there around $150 and get the first appearance of Jennika. Yep. And I mean, yeah, if that movie comes out, that would just be kind of a cherry on the top for Jennika. And yeah, maybe for that one, wait a little bit longer since Jennika's so new in comic books even. So probably take a couple years for the film studios to kind of catch on. But yeah, I think Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, one I've recommended in the past, and for a modern book, modern first appearance, I really like it. Okay, the last book here. Yeah, we got through 6 of them here. The 6th book is Incredible Hulk 340. So we got the second time Hulk and Wolverine ever fight in Incredible Hulk 340 with the classic kind of Todd McFarlane reflection cover with Hulk reflecting in the claws. Kind of a really cool, innovative cover. Kind of a brave cover, artistic-wise. I don't think before this, there's never been a cover like this, for sure. So it just made people kind of look twice, and such a great cover. So, talking movie-wise, this one, I actually had someone send me some article where there's like some rumors where there's a Hulk versus Wolverine movie possibly in the works. So I'm not too sure of how true those rumors are, but hey, I think, the first appearance of Wolverine was when they fought. It's such a classic moment in Marvel Comics. I think they could make a movie about it, yeah. I think that would be a really great idea, to be honest. So, yeah, and lots of potential with a Hulk vs. Wolverine movie, clearly. So, you think of Hulk 181, Incredible Hulk 181 is the first thing that kind of comes to mind. But, yeah, for, my generation with the CGC 9.8s and, Incredible Hulk 340 is kind of the Hulk versus Wolverine comic book to get. Yeah, and we'll look on the census here. There's 695 CGC 9.8s in the blue label for Incredible Hulk 340. And 14% is the CGC 9.8 ratio. So of all graded copies, 14% of them are CGC 9.8s. Price for Incredible Hulk 340. Yeah, really nice one in a new case. You're seeing them pretty much over 400 now, I find. Yeah, sort of 425-ish. For a really nice one in a new case, I think is, a good price. Maybe if you get lucky, a little under 400 for Incredible Hulk 340. This stands alone as a really great investment grade book. That 9.8 ratio is nice and low. It's such a classic, iconic cover. The second time Hulk and Wolverine ever fight. So this stands alone as a great book to have. But, yeah, if that movie ever came out, for $425 now, in that movie, with that movie coming out, if it ever happened, I could see this book, maybe even getting up to $600, like, right away. And, if the movie's great and it's out in theater, that could definitely, probably hold up and could set it up to just go on a, good long-term trajectory, I think, for, yeah, Incredible Hulk 340. And, yeah, I have 4 of these, CGC 9.8, so it's like one of my favorite Todd McFarlane issues ever. And yeah, if they made a Hulk vs. Wolverine movie, I think this book would do really well. So, okay, yeah, got through 6 sort of made-up hypothetical movies that, I think would be really cool if they were made, and some matching CGC 9.8 comic books. So, and yeah, one thing I did mention at the beginning, I think what's good about this list, all these books, if they don't make the movie, you could still be really happy having them as collector items, even if a movie doesn't come out. So that's really important, I think. You don't want to buy a comic because a movie's going to come out. Like, that shouldn't be your number one reason kind of thing. So my top picks, I think, Batman Beyond number 1, if a Batman Beyond movie ever came out, I think that would probably be the best movie they can make out of all this here. Personally, I just think it would be an amazing movie. Yeah, Hulk vs. Wolverine with Incredible Hulk 340 here. I think it's such a great investment grade book on its own. So if they make that, movie, this is definitely in my, 1 or 2 top picks here. But if they make that movie, that's just should certainly help the value for sure. Ultimate Fallout 4 would be another top pick. Out of modern books, it's kind of neck for me. It's neck and neck, Ultimate Fallout 4 and Batman Beyond #1. Those are my two pretty much neck and neck favorite modern books. So a Miles Morales movie is coming. Like I don't know. I can't predict the future, obviously, but it's gonna come in like 10 or 20 years. So can't go wrong with an Ultimate Fallout 4. And then NYX #3, yeah, will be my last pick here. I think top pick. As a movie that I would really enjoy to see. I think NYX #3. I think the cover's a little underwhelming, and during this time when it came out, I was pretty much out of the hobby. So I wasn't really collecting comics, so not much of a nostalgic connection to X-23 either. So it's not, to be honest, not really a book that I want, a comic book or a CGC 9.8 that I want to buy. But I would totally go see a movie, and I think it would be really cool to just see a badass female Wolverine. So yeah, that would be my last top pick there. But yeah, a good list, a fun list, I think. I always like to kind of think of some movies that could come out. And then within that, in that spirit or framework of trying to position yourself before a movie comes out. Because, yeah, a lot of things we talk about on the channel are, you don't want to, see a show and everyone's pumped up about a show and go out and buy that book. Or see a trailer and go out and buy that book because, that generates a lot of demand and then the prices rise. And then usually that goes away, the promotion. And then a year later, the prices go down to normal levels. And so you want to position yourself before the movie, and that's kind of what this list was all about. So yeah, hope you enjoyed. Got some ideas here. Yeah, some kind of big classic keys, but I think it is kind of cool to think about some movies that could come out that could affect some of these CGC 9.8s. And maybe, like I said, position yourself before the movies come out. So yeah, thanks so much for watching today. And really appreciate all the support and all the comments. And message me on Instagram if you do want to chit-chat about whatever it might be or talk about comics. Yeah, give me a message on Instagram. That's probably the easiest way to get a hold of me, to where I message back pretty fast. So thanks so much for watching, though. And yeah, I really appreciate all the support from everyone out there. And I'll see you on the next video.